Welcome in the Quest Number 9 podcast. My name is Seth Warner, and on this podcast, we talk about Kentucky basketball from a fan's perspective. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about Kentucky's 72-60 win over Indiana, getting their first Power 4 win of the season and allowing Kentucky to really gain some confidence after outscoring Indiana by 18 in the second half and being down at 7 at halftime, where Indiana was able to close the first half on a 5 point advantage in the last 2 minutes, allowing Indiana to be in control, but Kentucky was able to keep it close for a while and then take the lead at the 11-minute mark. And then Indiana really was not in control after that. And Kentucky was able to hold Indiana to 17 points in 17 minutes to finish this game and really be able to control physicality, defense. And wasn't Kentucky's best shooting performance again, but overall was still a very physical and dominant performance by Kentucky. I thought Kentucky really did a good job shutting down those perimeter threes from Indiana and really not allowing this elite 3 point shooting team to really get any clean looks. Will Cox hurt Kentucky early on, a guy that we talked about being really dangerous in this game. One guy that averaged over 30 minutes a game. Kentucky was able to get him in foul trouble. He had to set a large portion of this game. He had 12 points in the first half. I only ended up with 15. Kentucky was really able to limit his impact coming after a 45-point performance for him. And overall, Kentucky was really just able to contain this Indiana offense, limiting them to 60 points compared to where they scored almost 80 against Louisville. But overall, Kentucky scoring 72 points. In Indiana having 26 of their 60 points coming from the free throw line, 34-26 split from free throws. That was one place that Kentucky was not very good at, was at the free throw line, where Kentucky shot 25 of 38 at 66%. That's something we had cleaned up. Jalen Lowe struggled. Denzel Aberdeen missed two. Otega Owe struggled from the free throw line. But overall, I thought Kentucky really was physical, able to control the pace of the game, especially in the second half, and limit this Indiana offense, and was able to create a lot of turnovers where Kentucky was able to create 18 turnovers and really create a lot of offense off that. Kentucky only having 4. That's going to be a really important stat for the Cats, being able to dominate that turnover battle where Brandon Garrison, who had a strong performance, had 2, and Aberdeen had a jump ball turnover, were Kentucky's turnovers in this game. Kentucky had 13 steals out of their 18. That's very important for the Cats to have a lot of high steal count to create easy opportunities for their offense that has been struggling at times this season and had some highs and lows in this game. Kentucky struggled from beyond the arc again in this game in low volume shooting, 3 for 15, having some good looks. Colin Chandler being over 2 from 3. Would like to see that volume at like 3 to 4 for him and have him at least knock down 1, maybe 2. We just really need to get him going shooting wise and would really allow this Kentucky team to do a lot more. Jalen Lowe played well. He had 13 points, was 5 for 13 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, but I'm confident in his 3-point shooting. Struggled from the free throw line, shot 50% from the free throw line, 3 for 6, but had 5 rebounds, was in really good position rebounding. When Wilkerson came back in, he was the primary defender, so did a really good job that. Had a lot of big steals. Had one big steal at the end on Wilkerson and had 2 assists to no turnovers, so that was really good for him. Is a guy that has the ball in his hands a lot. Mo Diabate was probably the player of the game. He had 14 and 12. Really dominant performance for him, being able to control the game from the glass, was 4 for 7 from the field, didn't try to do too much, understood his role, was really good defensively, high motor, created a lot of steals for Kentucky, had 5 steals, active in the passing lanes, and played with intensity and really gave Kentucky a second lift in that second half with him playing 22 minutes in his first game back. Colin Chandler, like I said, struggled shooting. He only played 16 minutes. Trent Noah played 11 minutes, who was the starting 4, had 4 points, was 0 for 3 from 1 for 3 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3-point range, had 2 assists. Kentucky had 10 assists. Would like to see that number quite a bit higher. I'd like to see it in the more like 15, 20 range at least. We would like to see it at the 11, 12 range, made 22 field goals. Kentucky was 22 of 58, not their best performance in any shape or form, but Kentucky was able to have the most attempts. Kentucky had 14 more attempts than this Hoosiers offense, but Kentucky was overall just able to impact the game in many different ways, especially in that second half, being able to dominate the glass, dominate turnovers, and made shots when it counted. Otega Oweh, Jalen Lowe had some nice shots in the interior and was overall just starting to get the flow of the offense, and he's going to keep on building game after game. Playing 24 minutes. Brandon Garrison was really good for Kentucky in his minutes this game. He had 6 points, was 3 for 6 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, but had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, had 2 turnovers, had a couple really nice blocks, nice steals. It was overall just really active for the Cats. Had a nice move off the bounce. I think that's something we've really lacked from our bigs in these first games is guys who can attack off the bounce, who can pass it. Because if you could attack off the bounce and pass it really well, that's basically like you're a true hub, and it makes up for some of your shooting ability. That's what Amari Williams did so good last year. And I think Jaden Quaintance can also bring an element of that. But Kentucky technically lost the rebounding battle, 37-34 Indiana. But overall, I thought Kentucky did a really good job. Kentucky had more attempts, so that changes the opportunity amounts, but it was still really close. Kentucky dominated in offensive rebound comparison. Kentucky had 14 offensive rebounds. Indiana had 8, but Indiana had 29 defensive rebounds to Kentucky's 20. But overall, Kentucky didn't do a great job off the long rebounds. Had a couple missed blockouts on some of their big guys when their guards were on them. They got second chance points. But overall, I thought Kentucky did a good job understanding their responsibilities defensively, containing the shooters. Coach Pope talked about it on his pregame press conference. Is this team runs a lot of screen actions, guard to guard, so it's putting guys in different positions that they're not used to. So I thought Kentucky did a good job of covering that, keeping Wilkerson in check, getting him in foul trouble, getting their 2 primary guys in foul trouble in Tucker DeVries and Wilkerson, both of them keeping both of them to 15 points, not letting either one of them go off and really have an explosive game. Kentucky was able to keep them both in check and be a very complete game from the Wildcats. As we get ready for this week off, getting ready for St. John's, and if we clean up some of those little finishes at the rim, Otega had a couple, Jalen had a couple, BG had a couple little layups at the rim that we missed. We hit it off too hard, or we just didn't get the bounce, and then fix some of the free throw stuff that I think we're a much better free throw shooting team than what we showed last night. This could have been a potential blowout. Kentucky missed 13 free throws, was 38 of 25, so really not good all around there. But Kentucky was able to create some advantages with their defense and do just the little things with not shooting the ball well from the field. 3-point range or from the free throw line, and was just able to get a gritty win. I know this team is capable of shooting it a lot better than what they did against a Indiana team that has some matchup issues that could potentially hurt Kentucky with their speed, shooting, and dynamic weapons in Wilkerson, who can really just score at all three levels. And for Kentucky going forward, like I said, they have this week off and they're getting ready for St. John's. And St. John's, Rick Pitino, a team that I was pretty high on in the preseason, is now in the bottom of the top 25, ranked 22nd right now. And we talked about this. Kentucky has won one out of 3 big games in that stretch, so we really need them to win. It's this, St. John's, and then we have Alabama on the road, an Alabama team that just lost to Arizona, but was very competitive early. Arizona was able to wear them down with some of their physicality, but this is still a very good Alabama team. And that's all from the Quest Number 9 podcast. Stay up to date. I'm going to have a full episode coming out soon about St. John's, really looking into Kentucky's matchups and what to expect from the Wildcats and that coming up, and really see what Kentucky has to offer going into this next game, having a week off, Jaden Quain's potentially playing, and more stuff about that. Stay up to date. Subscribe, like this video, and go follow me at Quest Number 9 on Instagram and Twitter to stay up to date when I have new episodes I posted there. And I will see you next time.